It's been a while since I started this video on the Carpuride 702BS, and this is the first time I've had a chance to come out and ride the bike with the 702BS mounted. So I just wanted to continue on with this video and present to you on the bike experience. So right now you can see the display is in the dark mode, and I do like that. And so this is the display I'm going to be focused on for this ride. Right off the bat you can see it's getting the information from the bike's ECU, I guess. And so that's a nice thing, because on this bike you can see I've got the older display. I don't have a TFT, but I've got the older display. So all of this information is coming through from the computer directly. The BMW speedometer is notoriously wrong, and so anything that is more accurate than that, I'd really like to appreciate. And right now it looks like it's saying exactly the same speed as the speedometer. The BMW speedometer is optimistic. It records a faster speed than it actually is when you compare it with the GPS. And this Carpuride is just reproducing faithfully what the BMW is saying. Obviously I have an analog speedometer, so my guess as to what the speed is on the speedometer is only as good as my judgment of the analog readout. But it seems as though it's agreeing with the bike. What's not agreeing with the bike, as you can see, I've got my fuel light on, so I'm low in fuel, and what it's showing here is that I'm full of fuel. So I've noticed that the fuel display is not working on the Carpuride. The tire pressure sensors are perfectly spot on, because I just added air, and that's what the tire pressure gauge is more or less saying. The handheld gauge is more or less saying what the Carpuride is reading out. But the fuel gauge is totally wrong. It's not working. So I hope this is coming through clearly on the video. Temperature sensor is good, the ambient temperature, so that's good. Let me put down the kickstand, turn the bike off. Okay, all gassed up and ready to go. Yeah, like I was saying, the fuel gauge is not accurate because it doesn't work. I can show you I've filled up. So the gas gauge on the bike is showing full, and the gas gauge on the Carpuride is not showing any different from before when it was kind of empty. So that's not working. Another thing I wanted to point out that I noticed is that this bike has a red line of 9,000 RPM, okay? But with the Carpuride, when you get above about 4,000 to 5,000, it changes the color of the you see, right now it's orange. It's going into orange at just about 4,200 RPM. So I don't know if the designers at Carpuride decided that, hey, you're getting up there in the RPM range, and they should change color of the little bar on the RPM. But it makes no sense for this bike, because this bike doesn't have any kind of restriction at 4,000. As a matter of fact, 4,000 is where I always ride. You can see right now the bar is orange just beyond about 4,000. So that's another comment that I've got to make on this. Coolant temperature seems to be fine. It's not at the maximum, it's somewhere in between, so that's pretty much where it is. I can't comment on the accuracy of that. So ambient temperature is correct, clock is correct. Oh, all of a sudden my indicator came on and I didn't touch it. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on that too. Gear position sensor is correct. It's showing me 4,000. fourth gear, and the odometer is correct. It's reading that directly from the ECU, so it's got to be correct. Trip meter is correct, the voltage is correct, tire pressure sensors is correct. So my complaint right now is that the fuel gauge is wrong or it's not working, and the tachometer is showing a warning color when there should be no warning color. One of the things that I did notice before while I was at the gas station is that the touch screen does not seem to be responding to this glove. It responds perfectly to my fingers, but this glove, which has glove taps on the thumb and on the index finger, these stick-on, touch-sensitive pads, which are not the best, but they work on my iPhone and they work on the 702B Pro. They work on that cheap Carpuride. But it doesn't seem to want to work on this 702BS. I think the engine coolant temperature is a little bit, readout is a little bit high. It was all the way up to H just now. Now I don't know if it turns color and it gets red if it's hot, but the bar went up to H. But now it's cooling down as I'm riding faster, so maybe that's true, maybe it's correct. I don't have my display on the engine temperature, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But it's a pretty cool day today, 68 degrees, so it shouldn't be getting anywhere close to, overheating or anything like that. So I don't know why it's going up towards the H on the gauge. One of the things that I would have liked for this Carpuride 702BS is the fact that it's got this nice digital screen. Because like I said, I've got the old screen here because this is an older bike, it's a 2016. So it doesn't have the TFT screen. So it makes a lot of sense to have a digital screen like this Carpuride, because then it would be like an upgrade to the bike's display. To have this nice digital screen. The screen is right there. It's in my line of sight. I don't have to look down. I can just look, just angle my eyes down slightly and I can see it. It's nice and clear. So it's a good screen to have in front of your face. Another thing too is I think that the angle display, the angle of lean, the lean angle display right there, I think that's accurate. I think that's very accurate. And that's something that I never used to see before, because this display down here, the BMW display, does not have lean angle display on this model. So that's a plus. The little display for the brakes when they're applied, that's nice to have, but it's kind of gimmicky, it's kind of useless. I don't need that. Who needs to see when the brakes are applied if you're applying the brakes, right? I don't need to see that. It might have been better to have something else in that spot. Another thing I forgot to mention is that the tachometer, in addition to having that red band or orange band or whatever weird color it is, it's slightly high. It reads slightly high. Maybe a couple hundred RPMs high. And this was confirmed by another friend of mine who has a GS with the TFT display. And he confirmed that it does read a little bit high. So like right now when it's whatever it's saying there, I don't know what it's saying. It doesn't give me a digital readout as well, it's just a bar, but it's heading for 5,000. When you look down on the bar on the bike, it's probably around 4,500. So it seems to be about 300 RPM high right now. So overall, my comments at this time is that yes, while the display is nice, the RPM, the tachometer is slightly inaccurate, and my fuel gauge is not working. I am not going to say that the temperature, the coolant temperature is inaccurate. It seems to be okay. and I have nothing to prove that it is inaccurate or accurate. So no comment on that. It's there, and it's not showing me hot right now. But I can say that the TPMS, the tire pressures, are accurate. The speed is accurate to the bike. So it's just as inaccurate as the bike is, which is all you can ask the Carpuride to do. And the odometer and the trip meter is accurate. Time is accurate. Ambient temperature is accurate. Gear position indicator is accurate. Applied brakes, front and rear, they work, and the indicators work as well as expected. So as you can see, I've got the light display setting on now, and I suspect that it probably is easier for you to see what the display is doing right now, although with the reflection of my helmet in the display, I think you're probably going to have some trouble. But with the light display and the Carpuride 702BS set on automatic, when I go into a dark location, for example a tunnel or an underpass, or I start riding in the night, I expect it'll switch over to the dark display automatically. I've got it set to automatic, and that works well on the 702B Pro, so it should work the same here. Now the right indicator seemed to come on all by itself just now. I just looked down at the display and I noticed that my right indicator was on. I didn't turn it on. So that's twice in this ride that my indicator appears to have switched on itself. First time was the left, now it's the right. I've just turned the right indicator on and I'm turning it off. So it's off now. No indicators. Let's see if anything happens before I get home.